Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to use your beautiful cabs in a bezel design. And I'm going to go ahead and show you all the steps for creating the bezel itself. And then I'll describe how I did the veil attachment, which was very simple. I put a little charm on the bottom, and there is my beautiful pendant. Here's the back. And the way that it's made is you start with some size 8 seed beads and you work a row of 2 needle peyote. I'll show you how that's done. And I know the counts for this size of stone, and I'll get you the measures for this stone as well. But the way to do it, if you don't know the size yet and to determine the counts, I'll show you that as well. And then you'll need some size 11 and some size 15 seed beads. So that's it for the bezel portion. And then in the chain, I've used some fine beading wire. I've also used a jump ring and a head pin for a charm, which is completely optional. You can just have it without that too. All right, so my beads are from the Moss Agate collection from the Gemstone Orphanage box, and I'll put links in the description to that. This is the size 8 mix that came with that box. And this is the size 11 mix. And it also came with an extra set of 11-0, which can be great as place markers to have a solid in there that you can use to track. I did that in a few places along so that I could keep track of where I was when I was stitching. And here at the back, you can see I used the green in that same capacity. So that's a really great thing to have. And then the size 15 seed beads are right here. Some little silver beauties there. For my beading thread, I'm going to be using some 6-pound Fireline. I used black, so you'll be able to see my stitching really well. And a size 12 beading needle can be really handy. If you have other size beading needles, they'll work too. But the 12 is nice to maneuver, especially when you're weaving in around bezels. The trick is going through the bead you want and not all the ones that are next to it. In peyote stitch with this kind of tight configuration, a size 12 can be kind of handy because it's nice and bendy. All right, so the other thing you're going to need, of course, is your cabochon. And so the cabochon that I used is let me get you the exact info on it, actually. 1 second here. I have the sheet. So the cab you see here is this one. And it is a 30 by 22 by 8 millimeter cab. I'm going to be working with an almost identical stone today. And this one is 30 by 22 by 8. So roughly going to have the same counts. And if yours are like mine, you may find you have the same counts as well. But where stones really differ, and what I find to be something you want to look at, is sometimes stones are taller, meaning the dome is higher than in other stones. And these are pretty close. These are really similar. But that's just something you can always check. And if you have a higher or a lower dome, adjusting the counts is really easy. It becomes super apparent when you get the first couple of rows on, you get that stone in there, you'll be able to tell. I like to work the back of cabs first, so the back of a bezel first. That way I'm working the dome last. And as you're working the dome, that's when all the fine tuning can take place. I have a little trick to show you relative to working with an oval shape versus a round. You'll notice if you look closely that I've got 2 15s in some places, and then at the tops and the bottoms I've got just a single. That's how I achieved the oval shape. So let's get our beads ready and our cab. Our cab we will only need here at the beginning, and then we'll set it aside for a bit, and then we'll bring it back out. But let's just start with our size 8 seed beads, and let's go ahead and cut about 65 inches of our Fireline beading thread. I just usually do a wingspan. A wingspan for me is about that measure. And so here's my thread. And then I like to flatten the end of my thread to make it flat so I can get my needle on easier. You're going to want to do that on both sides. And don't worry, this is not a 2 needle the entire time. This is just a 2 needle start. It makes it a lot easier to get going. And I'll show you in just a sec as we begin the stitching. So here's 1 needle. And apologies, I've got my other needle a little bit stuck there. There we go. 2 needles. String on one side and just fold it over a little bit. And there we go. So our other side. And fold that over a bit. All right, so here comes our size 8 seed beads. We need a lot of them, so go ahead and dump out quite a few. Now I'm going to tell you the cheat sheet for the stone that I'm using, which again is a 30 by 22 by 8. The trick to that is you're going to do about 46 rows. But again, test yours when you're working. So to begin, you're going to put 2 seed beads on, 1 on each needle if you'd like. And then just hold those needles together and slide that to the midpoint. And then what you're going to want to do is bring both needles through 1 seed bead. And you'll see a peyote stitch start. You can pull that thread apart. You'll see at the midpoint the beginning of a little peyote stitch pop. So we're going to do that for a total of 46. And so what you see me holding here, that counts as 2 rows. So we'll do this a few more times until we have a total of 46 rows. Let me show you one more. Pick up 1 bead on one needle and 1 bead on the other needle. Then bring those needles together and pick up 1 more bead. And slide that all down to the bottom. And after each one, feel free to pull the threads apart, with the goal being to get this peyote stitch going just like that, see? When we're done, we'll have a long band. So that, what I have there is 4 rows. So carry on until you have about 46. And then as you start to get some length, you can measure around your stone. You want to measure with it flat on the mat and then just kind of push it against it like that. And once it connects to the other side, that's the measure you're going for at the stone's widest point around. All right, so there is basically it's a single column peyote worked row of 8 seed beads. And I went for 46 rows. So each space counts as a row, each bead counting this direction. So here's my stone. And how you test it again is you just kind of place it against the edge like that and just wrap it around. And if they connect like this one does, then you know you've got it. And you can carry on to the next step. And now we won't need our stone for just a bit. So I'm going to set that aside. And so we're going to work. So we worked from the midpoint here. So we have an equal amount of thread on each side. So it doesn't matter at this step which one you choose to start with. We are going to work the back first. And so if for some reason you end up with a little unevenness and one of your threads is slightly longer than the other, keep the longer one to be the front. So in my case, mine are about equal, but we'll make this one, the shorter one, become the back. So select the one that's a little shorter, and we'll work with that one to complete the back of the bezel. So the first thing we need to do is join it into the round. To do that is really easy. You're going to take this side thread and try to keep it from spinning. So lay it flat first, tighten it up. Okay, lay it flat. Bring this side up to meet this side. And just try not to do a twist because that will make it have a twist when you sew it. And so when you bring the needle through the first bead there I went through the one on the right, actually it doesn't matter which one. And then you're going to turn and head through the adjacent. So see how I went through this one, and I'm heading back through this one. Pull that tightly. And when you get right about here, go ahead and go back through the bead you were exiting. Head in the opposite direction of the other needle exiting there. See? And bonus here, you can tighten it like this. See? So just pull nice and tight. And what you should get is a continuous ring around. Should be pretty seamless there. So that's what I'm going for. And so taking this needle here, what you'll want to do is step up through one of the next up beads. So you want to be exiting from an up bead on that side. So you should have something that looks like this right now. And we're going to get the green size 11 seed beads. Pick up one seed bead. Go through the next up bead. So let me show you that flat so you can see what I'm doing. It's holding everything tight. And as you work, it will get tighter. So 111.0. You'll go through the next 8.0. 11.0. Through the next 8.0. And you'll carry on just adding an 11.0 in between all of the sections around, all the way around until you get back here. And when you get back here, you'll know you're getting close because you will see this tail approaching. You'll have one more to add when you reach the tail to go through the next up bead, which will be that one. And we'll do this together when we get there. But from there, you're going to step up through the first bead we added in this step. So keep going around and meet me back at the spot where we started. All right, so now we are right back where we started. So I've got my last 11.0 here, and I'm just going to go through the next up bead. You can see it, just see it right there. Let me see if I can move my fingers and kind of spot it. And make sure you go through the 8.0 because it can be tempting just to go right for the 11.0. You want to definitely close that off by going in between those last two. And you'll have something that looks like this. Not looking like much yet, but it will get there. And if you want at this step again, you can tighten. You've got that nice tail thread hanging out. You can make that nice and tight. And go ahead and step up through the first 11.0 we strung. From here, get your 11.0 mix. Dump some of those out and repeat what we just did. Pick up a bead, go through the next up bead. This time it will be an 11.0. So just like that all the way around. If you need to tighten the tail side, go ahead and do so. It might loosen up on you as you work, just until we get to the dome side. But so just like this, you want to just put an 11.0 in between each of the former row 11.0. And here's the last one. And make sure you don't skip that last 15. Forgive me. Make sure you don't skip the last 11.0. Sorry. So when you've added this last one here, you see there's space for just one more right there. It's really easy to skip those, so that's why the color change actually really helps. Just want to make sure you're going through one more emerald here. And it can be pretty tight. There we go. Just making sure I get through that 15. Or sorry, I keep wanting to call it. We're going to be adding 15s next, so that's where my brain is headed. We're currently working with 11. And there's my step up. See? So that's what you want to do. And now you're going to have this ring going. Let's get our 15s out. And let's go ahead and put a 15.0 in between each of the previous row of 11.0. So this one here. You'll have a very clear up bead. You'll just want to place that 15.0 in between each 11.0 going around. Just keep going like that until you meet the first one. Made it around, and here's our last 15. And you can clearly see this one. It's really easy to see. And there's our last one. So what you can do right now is you can leave this thread aside for the moment and just keep it handy for if you would like to use it later. I did use mine to tie to when I finished the top. You also, just in case you run short of thread on one side, it's nice to have it there. Also for attaching the little loops at the end. So a few reasons to keep it around just in case you need it. Also, it can be used to tighten as you work. So, but switching to the other needle, we left this other needle behind here, exiting from that 8/0 seed bead. And if it's predominantly coming out of the side, that you're working from here, you can just kind of push your tail back out of the way, like so. This is the other working side with the 15th, right? Just push it out of the way that way so you can have this one on the right surface. If you pull it around like this, see, to work, it's going to put pressure on that strand. So I just flipped it to work that way. So that's what I'm doing there. And pay attention to the direction you're heading. It should be the opposite direction of your other thread. Your other thread's going that way. So this one should be going this way. Let's pick out 8/0s again. So I'm going to just do a rearranging for 1 second here, just to get these 15s over here. We won't need those for a little bit. We will need some size 8 seed beads. So just getting those ready. With the stone, let me show you where we're going. With this stone, it has a very, like I was saying in the beginning, a high dome, meaning it's tall this way. I think 8 millimeter was that measurement. So we're going to have to give it a little more height. So instead of going directly to the 11s, like we did on the back, which the back just has to fold over, right? The back. Here we're going to go straight to 8/0 again. But make sure you weave to exit from the next up bead. So in my case, I need to go step up through this one on the outside. And as we do this, it should start to bring it up into a bowl shape very gradually. So we're just going to put an 8/0 in between every up bead going around. And be careful just to get through the up bead. Your needle will try to travel through them all. These round configurations, it really does start to do that. And don't be nervous if as you start to get over here, it starts to do this on you. That's what you want it to do. So keep going around. So here's the last one. Go through the last up bead, right? And you're going to start to just get that whisper of a bowl shape happening. And notice it just starting to come up. And go ahead and step up into the first 8/0 bead that you strung in that round. And so you're just going to get this little hint of a bowl shape. From here, we're going to switch to 11/0. And I want to show you on this design that I did again go right to the emerald green. And so let's do that here. So we have our emerald green 11/0. We'll pick up one of these. And we're going to go through each of these around. Now the bowling shape is going to become more pronounced. Here's where you want to introduce some tension. After you pull each bead through, don't be afraid to give it a little tightening. Do that about maybe halfway around. So you see, I'm gonna do this one a little more on camera so you can watch it sort of come together. There we go. But so see, when you tighten now, you're really getting a pronounced little lift to the sides. At some point before you get halfway, or maybe right at the halfway mark, it's time to bring the stone over. From here on, it can be tricky to get the stone out or into it if you if you were to seal this round up without having the stone in it, with any luck, it would actually be too tight to get the stone in. So almost to my halfway point here. And I'm just going to drop it in there like a little envelope, and then we'll close the lid. Maybe right about there. Okay. So he's starting to fit in there. See? From here, if you want to, you can work flat on the mat if that's easy for you. If you want to pick it up, you'll just need to hold your stone as well. I think I do a little of both. I kind of move things around and pick them up once in a while. And here comes the next one. Very pretty stone. Let's see, what else can I tell you? As I'm doing this step, when I do the tight pull part, I press down on the stone into the mat. If you have a puffy mat, it's really, really handy for something like this. Don't worry if it comes loose on you, though. It just might do that. Almost around. I'm trying to be careful not to skip anything. Let's move that tail. Okay, I've only got a quarter of the way to go. I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. When you pick it up, try to hold it a little bit centered if you can, but don't stress too much about it because you can move it again at the end if you need to. Oops, I skipped one there. It's really easy to do that. One more after this, I think. Yeah, okay, so here's the last one. And if you can do it in one swoop, add your last bead and do your step up. There's my step up. I'm going to press that flat into the mat. And at this point, we've been working primarily in the round. So meaning we haven't added any increases or decreases to account for the oval shape. We're going to do that right at the end. I found that it worked really well. And then just right at the end when we're adding the last row, we'll do some tweaking. From here, we're going to do one more row of 11 O's. And this time, if you'd like to switch to your mix, you can. I did something pretty on sample. I felt inspired to just go with all of the white ones. And if you feel like doing that, go for it. If not, it's not a required thing. It's just kind of something I thought was pretty. I'll probably do that again here if I have enough of them. Looks like I do. And this one, you'll want to skip the 8-0 and you go through the 11-0, right? So you'll pick up an 11-0 and go through the next 11-0. And it's going to pop the bead up on the side like this. It'll be quite prominent looking. So it's going to start to pop, pop, pop all the way around. And I forgot a trick I wanted to show you really quick. So as you're adding these 11-0s, sometimes it can be a little tricky to get through the next one. Well, that one was easier, but if you have one where the 11-0 is just kind of sunk down, like here, you see it's a little tricky to get through it. Well, that one worked, but let's try the next one. Here we go. So here's a tricky one. So it's kind of hard to get through these 11-0. You just want to get through the 11-0. If you're really having trouble, you can kind of head backwards toward the 8 a little bit and turn your needle, and it'll get you just through that 11-0. So if that helps anybody, I do run into that quite a lot when I'm working these. And at this point, you do want to have your stone in because it's going to start to get settled really nicely. Here we go. So here's the last 11-0. And again, I'm going to use this little trick I showed a second ago to kind of help me get through the 11-0. Feel free to step up through that first one we added in this round. Once you've got that last one going on there. And do a little final inspection around your stone. Make sure that you didn't skip any. It's really easy to skip them at this step. They're hard to see. That's why having the different color helps, but it's just make an effort not to skip any, and then just check your work as you go. But with any luck, you'll have this beautiful stone really nicely settled inside of your bezel. So all we have left to do is put our 15s on it. And so putting our 15s on is really easy to do. I'm going to add one little trick that is something you can kind of just feel your way through as you go. So we don't need any of our other beads. Let me just move those. We need our 15s. And working from here, I still have this tail here on the back. So pretty. We're going to tighten this all up here at the back too once we have the front on, we'll tighten up this again with our tail, or our other working side, I guess you could call it. All right, so from here, what I did, let me show you on the finished one. So at the bottom and the top of the oval shape, I just did one 15-0 in 3 positions. And then all along the sides, I'm running 2 15s. And that accounts for that oval shape really nicely. So lay your stone out and you'll have top and bottom identified really well. And so maybe you can, at this step, just kind of pick the ones you're going to fill in with 1. So in my case, it's going to be 1, 1, and 1. So these 3 right here look like my center. So I'm going to go with 2 right here. So you're grabbing the right needle there. Here's 2 15s to connect me here. And now let's go with 1 15. And again, I'm just working toward what will probably be the bottom of my oval. 1 and 1. You can always look at it. And maybe for you, the bottom of your design, the center is just a point of 2 versus a point of 3. Let me show you. So on this one, I have 1, 2, 3. I could have done just the 2 and then had 2 here. That's really in the noise. As long as you just have up here and down here just being a little pinched in tighter, you'll get there as far as achieving that oval shape. So see, when I tighten it, yeah, that's going to be perfect. So let's switch to 2 now until we get over here right around the top, and then we'll assess that up there. So it will look nice and symmetrical as we go. There's 2. Oh yes, and at this stage, it is really pretty secure stone in there. And after this round, it'll be very secure. And again, this is just 2 15-0 in between each 11-0. I'm going to keep going till I get about here. Okay, let's look. Let's do another set of 2. Here's our another set of 2. And we'll go 1, 1, and 1. So you see, thinking of it as just like the little top of the clock there. There's 1. And 1. Pretty tight tension here is A-okay. And 1. Now 2 for the journey, for the rest of it. 2. 2 in each of these positions all the way down until you meet the first one. All right, so 2 more beads. Go through the last bead. And then if you want to carry on and go around, you can. You can stitch all the way around if you'd like to tighten it up if you feel like it needs it. But in general, there's our stone. So nice, easy bezel setting. What we have left to do, and the parts that we have left to do are really easy and quick, and one part of it is optional, just if you like it. So I'm going to take 2 8-0 seed beads, and I liked using the like this color here, but you could use any. And you can go ahead and just, we're going to do what's called like stitch in the ditch, where you stitch one bead and go through the next up bead, but you're just like layering it on top of the existing, what is it, existing flat work, I guess you could call it. And that's how I did that. So you get a little 8/0 sticking out of the bottom there for the jump ring. And then up here at the top, you've got the same thing happening. And then I ran some beading wire through it. This is all reinforced quite heavily. The beading wire fits if you use fine. I think even medium would have been good, because the generous hole on that, you can see I've got plenty of room on my fine beading wire, so medium would have been fine too. And in case you're looking for measures on that, let me get you that really quick. So it is 0.014 is what I'm currently using. But I would venture a guess that this would work as well. 0.019. So if you're working with some of the Beadalon, like 19 or 49 strand, you're going to find that as 0.018 probably. So you can go anywhere from 0.015 to 0.018. Something like that. Probably work just fine. So let's go ahead and put the first one on. I'll show you how I did that. Wherever your thread ended up, start heading toward around the top there. And if you're lucky, you'll have a spot that works. So in my case, I think this is going to be the one right here. Now, if for some reason you don't have a true center at the top, that's no problem either. You can ladder stitch another bead on. Let me show you what that looks like. So you could pick up a bead, go back through the bead. So you could do that if you don't have a true center, but I think mine will work doing this way. Another thing you can do is you can create a step. So let me show you that as well. There we go. But the goal being to get a bead and go, so I'm exiting from this one right here. And head through the next one with a bead added. And that will put that bead in between, just like going through the two up beads. Now, that's definitely not a centered position. So what I'm going to do, let's go back. Through this one. Head through this one. Try to get just through the one. And pick up another bead. And then go through the next up bead. So there's a way you could do it. That's put these two beads as a center. And what I could do is weave around to head back through it and connect them. Or I could just bring my beading wire through both of those with a little seed beads in between, some little 15s right there. So there's one way you could do it if you don't have a true center. But just lay it down, look at it, and kind of figure out. Let me show you with the other thread, adding because I think I have a true center at the bottom here. I just need to get there. So in the case of this thread, I'm heading that direction. So let's head through some beads. I'm going to weave just kind of like right around here so I can get down there. So I just headed along this edge, and now I've got my thread exiting from here. And really the best way to tell is just lay it flat and look at where it's exiting. If I put a bead on there, it's going to be like that. So if that's my center top there, that probably works. I'll grab one of these. And again, I'm exiting from, sorry, I didn't show you that. Exiting from right there. And I'm going to just go through that one. So in that case, I'll reinforce all of that. And I'll pop a jump ring on that. if I'm doing the charm. Here's how to reinforce it. See how I'm just weaving around? Make sure your thread goes and turns in all the places you want it to. Just want to make sure I get through that bead. That's the one I want to go through. There we go. Okay. And so you can do that again, that little turn that I made to reinforce this, and then just weave in and turn a few places, and you'll achieve a really good weaving in for that. And you can go ahead and trim that extra thread. All right. And so all I have left to do here is I went ahead and finished this side and wove that in. So I could make a decision here if I just wanted to have no embellishment, like for example, without that on it. I'm not sure what you want to do. I think I want to see, so I can also show you the option here if you didn't have a true center. And then I also wanted to point out the position I was placing it in is the one that's kind of like right here, but you could place it here. You see this spot right there? And that would give you a center. So placing it here is going to give you this as like an offset position. So there are ways you can play with it to get it to be exactly what you want. And so that's what I've got going on there. It just depends on the position of it. I like this. I'm going to stick with this. So here's just a really quick zip around to tighten everything up. I had to look at it for a second. Sometimes your original idea, it ends up being a little different. Every time you make one of these, you're going to get slightly different little position of those beads. See how much stronger that gets when you weave in and you reinforce it? Get through this one. I'm just making turns now, see? One more trip through. Might need to do that one by one. They're getting pretty tight there. Okay, this side. You know, actually, that's growing on me. I think I like it. So you may have this configuration when you do yours, and now you know an option that you can use. And this is just weaving in. So weaving in, you want to just go through some beads and make a few turns. Here's a turn. Let's get through some 11s. They're nice for weaving in. Oops, sorry about hitting the camera there. All right, so you'll do a little turn. Get through a few of those, and we'll trim my thread. So that's what weaving in looks like. I might have skipped a bead there. That's not what I want. Okay, there we go. And I like to use a thread burner to burn my ends. It's a nice, easy way to finish. And there we go. So let me show you what I meant about the suspension. So how I did this one was I literally just strung that beading wire through it, and I started stringing a beautiful design. All the dress it up bag beads. Really pretty. And so let me show you what I can do with this one. That's the medium. Here's fine soft flex. Let's test the medium just so I can make sure that what I told you was exact. Yeah, there we go. Feeding it through 2 is a little trickier, but you can do it. So what I would do is I'll put some 15s on that. Oh, that could be the question though. Does 15s fit? Actually, yes, they do. Okay, so let's do that. Here's 1. think it's going to need 3. 2, 3. Let's bring that back. I'm just encouraging it to go through that bead. If it's tricky, just go ahead and slide those down. I think it's definitely easier with the just one bead. But this is going to be really pretty, so I think it's worth our time to try it. Success. All right. Okay. What do you think of the 3? So when you hang it, it's going to look like this. Your strands will come up, and they'll have beads on either side. That's really nice. So you can use medium, just verifying that for you. You might have an easier time using fine. So play with it, see what you get. Pop in a jump ring on the bottom is also super easy. Let me show you that really quick. And from there, I'll let you, just start designing because this is the fun part. Some pliers here. Sorry about that. I seem to have misplaced my other square. Oh, there they are. I like using my square nose with jump rings. Here we go. Okay. So very easily, this is a 21 gauge jump ring, I believe. Let me get that on there a little better. Going for the click. And so jumping right through that, I have a simple loop on a beautiful charm there that I made with Dress It Up bag beads. I've got a little 15 in between an opalite and a moss agate to get that to fit really pretty. There's the chain example on a single suspension. And here's that chain example on a double. I'll finish this one up and play with it. I'm going to do a little different chain. I might do a different kind of charm on that one. I was thinking actually the Findings bag had some really cute little dangles. That might be fun on here. So I'm just going to play with it. I was looking at earlier. I believe I have in here. Let me just dump this out real quick. Aha! Wouldn't one of those be cute? I think it would. So one of those at the bottom, get one of these out. And that has an open, so you can get it right on there. What do you think of that? You could even do another drop there at the bottom. That's neat too. Well, I'll let you guys get to it and enjoy your stitching. And I will be posting more beauties with my leftover beads from the box. I also still have my other stone. And so let me find that really quick for you. I do have a top drilled stone. So I'm going to be doing another little design with this one in the future. All right, see you for the next one, and thanks for tuning in.